Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today at Beautiful Literature. We are so glad that you're here and thank you. We are looking at Act 5 of the Parliament of Owls. We have come all the way from Act 1 to Act 4 and now we are looking at Act 5. If you're new here, I encourage you to subscribe while you're at it and be part of this great family. And so therefore we are looking at Act 5 and it's the last act of the Parliament of Owls. And that's a very important act because we've been coming up, building pressure, building a thought and a plan, and we need to see that plan happening. And Act 5 begins in a very interesting way, and I think it's important for me to raise that the stage is set at the front gate of the first row of royal trees. On one hand are images of affluence cast against the royal trees. Affluence means what? Having a lot of money and good standards of living. So on one side of the stage, we have images of affluence and against the royal trees, while on the other side, we have plundered forests characterized by fallen trees. Plundered means stealing. To plunder is to steal from something or from someone by force in times of war. So one side is trees, beautiful affluence. The other side is plundered trees and hanging on twigs of trees. Fallen trees. And on those plundered trees, the nests of birds can be seen hanging loosely on the twigs. Can you imagine? Those two, that comparison between the two. There are dry twigs and dry leaves all over the place. The grass is dry. A drying river runs on the far left of the royal trees and separates royal trees from other trees. The stage is to create a picture of opulence amidst plunder and hunger in the bird's kingdom. And so therefore, the playwright deliberately brings this up just to show that how one side of the kingdom is living with abundance and so much availability, while the other one, they are suffering, they have nothing to eat, the security, their homes, they have no roof over their head. There's all that. And it was important for the playwright to bring the issue of inequality and also the contrast, contrasting those two. And so that begins there, and it's because we are headed towards the, do you call it the inauguration? And the swearing in of Oyundi, because now she'll become a member of parliament or the Parliament of Owls. And in here we can see Veteran P and Little P. They are the media. Remember, these ones they are members of the media house that is in this kingdom. And of course, they are discussing what is going on, just like the way most of the people of the media will do when there's a big occasion coming up. And from this conversation, we are able to learn quite a bit of things and know that Oyundi has been supported. She got even support from unlikely quarters. She has support from everyone. Who knew some night birds would turn out to be Oyundi's fervent allies? Incredible. At first, it sounded like a dream, but now the dream becomes a reality. Apparently, nearly all birds look forward to a better parliament that will serve with fairness, no more hooting and looting. And that is very, very important as we talk about this, because the Veteran P is talking about what are the expectations. Even as we look at this, the birds are looking forward to a point of oneness where no bird is better than the other one. No bird is getting punished because of not towing the line. That actually they will all work together. There will be fairness and so on, and there will be no hooting and no more looting. And of course, Little P says, "Way, you need to be quiet. Don't raise your voice so much. Moneybags may accuse you of irresponsible reporting. He will probably press charges against you." What is very interesting is what Veteran P says. He says, "By the way, I don't care. I've been arrested several times and have survived." And she says, "You are a tough soul, Veteran P. A tough soul, not like some of these parrots who bootlick the olds. And of course, that communicates that actually the media has also been compromised, that there are some who will not. And remember, Veteran P had been accused of being a friend to socialite all, and he's the one who is reporting whatever is going on. And so we have a Veteran P who really doesn't care, and he says, if you free yourself from fear, there is nothing to fear. And that's a very good statement that he has said, that he's telling the little P that you really don't have to keep fearing, because as long as you have freed yourself from fear, you really don't have to fear anything. And you see what Oyundi has accomplished because of her determination. The first time a daybird, a female daybird, is appointed a member of parliament of Alls, and it's an achievement. It's an achievement that Oyundi has gotten herself there. And of course, the discussion goes on about the royal owl, why has he changed his mind, and so on. And Veteran P has so much to say, because you can see the committee, sometimes the need for change is there. And Veteran P, the big question is whether we see in the near future a more liberal King Tula Nyongoro, and he's wondering, we are happy to see the changes he's having, but we hope that this carries on into the future. Now, there's a part I want you to note, page 105. In fact, this one caught me by surprise, I must admit to you, that I didn't know. The collective nouns. These collective nouns for these animals, these birds, I was so surprised. Go along with me. Let me go along with you on that. Veteran P, that is page 104, the last part. Veteran P, all birds have woken up early enough to come and witness this occasion. And he starts to list down the birds that have come. You can see a committee of vultures who are said to be close associates of the ruling owls. So, vultures together. Remember, we said owls, they are called Parliament of Owls. Vultures are called Committee of Vultures. I didn't know that. Then Osogo is playing his flute and singing praises to the royal owl. I can see a murder of crows. Murder of crows. I think I'll put that on the screen. You can have a look at it. A murder of crows. I didn't know that crows, many of them are called murder. A pride of ostrich. Okay, maybe that one was, I could have guessed. A quarrel of sparrows. Can you imagine? I was told it's also called. Yes, a quarrel of sparrows, a flight of swallows, a bank of swans, a siege of herons. This is unbelievable. Can you imagine all those collective nouns? I didn't know. And what about eagles? They're called a convocation of eagles. Wow. I didn't know all that. And of course, there's a nice so much that it's actually just to help us know that all the birds are here. There is no bird that has been left out. All of them, the big and small, female and male, night and day, grain eaters, all that are all here. Omnivores, they are all here. And of course, you can see the excitement. There is so much excitement in the air. And then Veteran P at some point says on page 106, that was after a scandal in Parliament of Wales regarding some secret pact between Moneybags and Mungus. It was Oyundi who spilled the beans. And on this page 106, it's important because it helps us to understand about Moneybags. Moneybags is evil. We actually told it must have been. However, that one was the time Moneybags was spotted bribing a pandemonium of parrots. That's another collective noun. Pandemonium of parrots. The parrots promised to Twitter and tweet sweet song about the Parliament of Wales every day. Some parrots lack integrity and have betrayed the birds many times. And so when you read all these, even from Veteran P and Little P, as they have this conversation, it brings out the issue of betrayal, the issue of corruption, the issue of injustice. I mean, there's so much that has been going on under the leadership of Moneybags, and something really needs to change if anything is going to happen. And of course, now the betrayal we're talking about is also the parrots have been top in the list of betraying the other animals. And of course, they carry on page 107, where finally the royal owl sits on the throne. He comes in, of course, like looking like a king. He's been carried by the others. He's been carried by the 3 puppet owls in a makeshift carrier. And Moneybags is also there and saying his usual praises to him. And of course, it's very annoying how he keeps saying birds of great moments, birds of big moments, birds of powerful moments, birds of moments of monumental momentum, and so on. Moneybags goes ahead with his empty praises to Royal Owl, and you can see that. And when he talks about on page 108, he goes ahead to say, without you, Royal Owl, there is no sky over our heads, and the trees become lifeless. I salute you. What a lie. And of course, just being the sycophant he is, and wanting to really just make himself, endear himself to the Royal Owl. And of course, now on as we carry on, the meeting goes on, and of course here and there, and the Royal Owl has been asked to stand up and say something. And of course, he's giving his speech: our kingdom, our parliament, our unity, our safety. These are the benefits we can show for the struggle we staged, and so on. But now, as we carry on, as Royal Owl is busy talking and wanting to carry on with the bringing in of Oyundi and getting her to be sworn in, you can see a conversation between Red String, Red String and Black String, and that is on page 110, and says, "See how excited Oyundi with her bunch of criminals are. I wish she knew what awaits her." Then Black String says, "She has brought herself right in the slaughterhouse." Red String says, "We shall feast on her tonight." Can you imagine that sense of betrayal? Can you imagine the injustice and all that? These people, they are so funny that they are singing with you, they are dancing with you, and really they don't even mean any of those things. They are willing to kill you. They are willing to, it's really very, very sad. And of course now, page 111, we have the socialite all also coming in and saying something when Royal Owl is saying something and he's not happy about it. And actually, Royal Owl doesn't seem like he likes socialite Owl's intervention many times. And of course, Oyundi has been called, and the meeting is going on, and almost the swearing in is going on. And it's important for us to note how things end up turning. And I will not spend a lot of time on that because I'm hoping that you can get some time to read for yourself. Where the Royal Owl at some point says on page 112, "Last night a naughty bird broke into my palace and left a hole in my roof." Then Royal Owl says, "Telltale is a wanted bird. I will reward any bird that will bring her to me, dead or alive." And this is a turning point when Telltale is mentioned in this meeting, because at that point is when Oyundi says, "What do you plan what will you do to the person who brings her alive? I can bring her." And he says, "If you bring her alive, I will reward you. And how I will reward you? I'll make you the chief whip of the Parliament of Owls. Use your gift of persuasion and wisdom and make this parliament even greater." And Moneybags is not happy about it. "No, your majesty, never. Any bird but Oyundi." And Oyo says, "I have spoken." Then Oyundi says, the king has spoken, Moneybags. Are you about to disrespect him?" Of course, Moneybags says, "Oyundi, you are deceiving his majesty, and I cannot allow that to happen." Now, that is where things start turning. And when you look at the conversation between Oyundi and Moneybags, things get worse and worse. Because Oyundi takes this opportunity to actually start punching holes on Moneybags and discrediting him, because Oyundi says, "Moneybags, you are the one deceiving His Majesty Royal Owl." And Moneybags says, "Are you out of your mind?" Oyundi says, "Maybe I am, Moneybags, but my king, tell me, when Royal Owl rolls his eyes clockwise while in sleep, what does that mean?" Now that becomes an issue, because that is a secret that the Royal Owl was known by very few people, the very, very few people, one of them being Moneybags. And he's wondering, how did this Oyundi get to know? And of course, now, if you read on, you realize that Oyundi knows so much even about the dreaming, and the dreaming that the Royal Owl has been dreaming, his fears at night, his fear of this and this, nightmares, and the effect of Aramtidi's death, and his shadow creeping on him, and all that, and how the Royal Owl has been so scared, and Royal Owl is upset. Now it's like you go in front of the whole world, and you're telling the whole world that your leader is not what he says he is. And of course, Oyundi is using this very deliberately to say that all these things I've known them because the most trusted disciple that you have is one who tells your secrets out. And of course, Royal Owl is very upset with Moneybags and saying, you are the one, you little witch. You are, Oyundi is Moneybags is not happy with Oyundi and says, you little witch, you are lying. Then Oyundi says, Royal Owl. He says, I am lying, yet he knows the stars that are the beautiful scars that dot the mind of Royal Owl. And of course, now at this point, knows this information. The only person who knows this information is Moneybags. I'm yet to know how Oyundi gathered this information. But I remember that Oyundi had been tutored and coached and helped by Nyakarondo, the hare. The hare is one who has helped her to come up with all these. I'm not very sure what the hare knew or how he helped Oyundi to come up with all these. But as you read on, you realize the discussion escalates from bad to worse, and from worse to worst. And by the end of the day, the Royal Owl commands that Moneybags be thrown away, be taken away. Moneybags, there is nothing he could do about it. He actually tried to fight. He tried to say, no, that is not true. She is lying and so on. And it did not happen because finally, the situation was compounded when Telltale came. Finally, Telltale was called, and now you can imagine how bad it got. Because now Telltale says that these things that we know, actually Moneybags is one who came and whispered those things to me in prison yesterday, where you had locked me up. He came and told me those things and talked about the bead, the golden bead. Remember, the golden bead is a very powerful, it's symbolic, it's a symbol of power. And actually Telltale on page 118 says, the powers of the king are stored in the bead. The bead is permanently stored in your sister's eggshell in an enclosed location in royal trees. This location is only known to the king and his close associates. It gives the king wisdom and power to govern all the birds. Without the golden bead, Parliament of Wolves crumbles. Even worse, the king loses his power to lead and he becomes... The Royal Owl does not even want to hear more. Actually, now he's already very upset. He tightens the grip on Moneybag's neck. He actually wants to strangle him. And Moneybag is trying to protect himself and saying, Your Majesty, all of owls, every moment. And he does not even want to hear. Then Royal Owl, hear me out. This is not true. This is a trick by Oyundi. Daybugs want to damage my image and finish me politically. And Royal Owl does not even want to hear of it. He says, you have damaged the image of the parliament. Oyundi says, you have damaged the image of the parliament, that Royal Owl, that of Royal Owl, other owls, and the entire kingdom. And of course, now they talk about Oliktiga, the blind bat that has been used by Moneybags. And he says that he uses whatever he's doing, he does it for his master. And his master means Moneybags. And Royal Owl is even more mad. He's wondering, since when did Moneybags become the master? I thought I am the master. And of course, all that is to make matters worse, because all the birds, that is on page 120, they ask, who is the master? Oyundi asked. The birds say, Moneybags, Moneybags. So Royal Owl is so mad. He's wondering, why would you people say that Moneybags is the master? And of course, he concludes that Moneybags went ahead telling the birds that he is the master. That is like a coup or something like that. Then the vultures, of course, start saying, Moneybags must go, Moneybags must go, Moneybags must go. And of course, now the chant, there is a singing. And of course, the Royal Owl is messed up, he's emotional, he's unhappy. And finally, the Moneybags had to go. And the two police owls lead Moneybags out of the stage in handcuffs. Can you imagine? That the light we saw in the moon of the breaking down that shines, the light that shines in the darkness, at least now we can start to see that. But that story does not end there, because as we carry on, we realize that Oyundi's plan is not yet over. She will actually end up turning against all the others. She will end up turning even against the Royal Owl. And at this point, that is on page 122. Yes, on page 122, where the birds are very excited. So they say, Oyundi, Oyundi, Oyundi. So they're very happy. And then Oyundi says, paces on stage, I salute you, Royal Owl, all day birds, grain eaters, night birds, omnivores, and standing to witness this moment of truth. Red String, salute the owls too, we love you. Then Oyundi says, all souls are saluted, rest string. And then Roy Owl says, by the powers conferred to me in the laws of our kingdom, I sentence all bats and all other accomplices of moneybags, act of treason, to life imprisonment. They have broken privacy laws. Arrest all of them. You can see that now the birds they're becoming powerful. They're enemies, the enemies of the birds, that is the friends to moneybags, have all been arrested. And therefore, the birds, of course, are very excited. You can see how the celebration that are going on. But what is very sad is what happens on page 123, where Oyundi says, Royal Owl, by the powers conferred on me in the laws of our kingdom, I, the firefinch Owl, declare this parliament dissolved. Hence, this house shall be known as the flock of birds, and all birds shall be represented. And then Royal Owl is, all power exercised through me, Firefinch Owl. Then Telltale say, which powers do you have, your majesty? The golden bead is no longer in your hands. The sun is about to rise. It is a new day. And of course, now that is symbolic. And now that is another turn. It's important for you to note that on page 23, where now Oyundi already has won against Moneybags and all his friends. Now she is trying to win against Royal Owl because she wanted everybody to be out of the way that has been oppressing the other birds. And of course, she says, now going forward, remember she's in an elevated position. She says, now going forward, this will not be a parliament of owls. It has been dissolved, that parliament of owls. Now it shall be called the flock of birds, and all birds shall be represented. And of course, the Royal Owl is wondering how, when, who I should have allowed that to happen. And he's told, no, you won't allow it to happen because who are you? You don't even have powers. The golden bead is not even in your hands. And of course, the drama begins there. And of course, page 124, we feel for Royal Owl. When Oyundi says, you do not have powers anymore, Royal Owl. Your wisdom is fading. Your strength is running out. Soon you will be like any other bird. If the sun rises when you're still here, you will become completely powerless. Then Royal Owl says, never. I sacrificed moneybags for the sake of justice. And here you are belittling me. And of course, Oyundi now, there's a lot that is going on around that time. I want you to just have a look at it. And that is how the power shifted from the Parliament of Owls and went to the flock of birds. And of course, you can see that on page 125, where we are having the celebration. It is time to chase the owls out of the Parliament and sing songs of the final liberation. That is on the last part of Royal Owl, Oyundi. And we can see Apple Jude. They says, Royal Owl groans, the golden bead falls from his hands. Owls, arrest her. She's working with our enemies to get us out of power. And of course, the other animals, birds, they don't support, they don't care what happens, because already they know that the time has come for these people, for the owls and his friends, to just step down. And of course, on page 126 is the celebration, and Oyundi, our kingdom is free at last. We are free at last. And Osogo says, let us make music as we remember the ugly era of the owls. Then the feathered beak says, I am an owl and I stand with you. Osogo says, yes, you stand with us. Congratulations. It was a fight well fought for the sake of truth and justice, for the sake of the greater kingdom. And of course, you can read that. And it says, Onchogorio says, Iron Lady, how do we celebrate this great day? How do we celebrate this liberation? Where are our fellow poets and poetesses? Where are your fellow verse makers? Where are the singers? And of course, the Iron Lady starts the celebration. There is a song, and Oyundi, of course, Royal Owl, King Tula Nyogora, all of owls, all of moments of monumental moment, he laughs again. And now, a moment of silence for all the birds that died in the struggle, including Osogo's kin and Aramtidi. Of course, this is winding up, and they're just reliving the moment and having a good time. And we are happy. We are very happy with them. Osogo, this royal flute lands on my lips. Finally, a requiem song to Moneybags. Once upon a time, he was here, he was there, he was everywhere, hooting and looting over the trees. It is a good celebration. The birds are happy. the olds are okay. And Oyundi, I am the Queen Osogo. The birds shall vote tonight on what they should call me. And then it's a democracy. Oyundi says, yeah, they should vote and give me a name because it's a democracy, whatever they would want to call me. And of course, the book ends with that celebration. The mood of uncertainty, the birds sing softly in a fading tone. So basically, that is the end of the text. The curtains close, and we are happy. We are happy that finally the birds have won against the owls and the owls and the injustice, the killing, the oppression. The darkness has lifted and the light has come. And so basically, as we talk about this, it's important for us to even look at the minority, the role of the minority in this whole struggle. That Oyundi, a female little bird, has been instrumental in the changing of the atmosphere, the political climate, and making sure that justice for the whole Birds Kingdom has been achieved. And looking at this whole book, I think there's a sense of hope, a sense of optimism, and letting us know that despite how dark things look, however bad things look, like there is hope. Something will come out of these situations. As long as you don't give up, as long as you don't become hopeless, let us have a chronic condition of hope, like Telltale says, that we keep hoping, we keep trying, we keep pushing forward, knowing that at some point things will turn out well. So that is it for Act 5, and that is it for this text, the Parliament of Owls. I know I was not able to go very well into the themes and the styles and characterization. I think maybe I should take maybe one video each and do the themes, just highlight on the themes, highlight on the characterization, and the styles that I used. I will do that in the next one. So keep looking, keep checking, it will be coming up. But in the meantime, let's just enjoy. Make sure that you read the book, make sure that you enjoy it, make sure that you understand it. That is the secret. By now, this being an optional book, I'm sure you're better off. It's not like the way you are when you're dealing with the fathers of nations. So that is it. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next one.